Groover bugs. Standing in the kitchen on the warm sand, enjoying the bare feet, standing in the kitchen, stirring hot chicken and rice. As I'm standing in the kitchen, I'm watching the sun go down and the river sounds resonating on the canyon walls. I hear the sound of the river and it brings peace to my heart. As I'm standing there, I'm enjoying myself on our family vacation that we usually do on the river every year. This year we're doing the salmon. And as I'm standing there thinking about this trip and how many days we've been out, about 3, just enjoying ourselves out on the Salmon River, watching the beautiful water glide down. You could see the rocks underneath and just reminiscing of the last few days. As I'm standing there stirring the chicken and rice in the kitchen, all of a sudden out of nowhere my stomach started to hurt. And I could feel the wind, the breeze of the wind come through and the smell of the water off the river. And it just, everything was, all my senses were being, all my senses were being overpowered. And I started to feel overwhelmed because my stomach was starting to hurt and the smell of the chicken was in my nose and I was so hungry, but you know how that feels when your stomach starts to churn and starts to goo and you just don't feel good anymore. And I knew what that meant. I knew that I was going to have to go to the bathroom. And the sun was starting to come down and there's bears and I didn't want to go to the bathroom because there's bears and it was starting to get dark and I was scared because we'd already seen a couple bears earlier in the trip and so I was getting nervous. And as I'm standing there, I can hear everyone else giggling and laughing over by the fire, and I glance over there and look and see what they're doing, and they're all laughing and joking around, and I know that I'm going to have to cross them as I go to the bathroom because it's between me and the kitchen. And so I start to head over there. I start running because my stomach was hurting so bad I could feel it starting to make its move, and my cheeks were starting to clench. And I head over there and start running. And I run over there, and as I'm running through the group, my brother, Jake, yelps out, "Hope you make it! Hope you make it to the groover and get your groove on!" And I just turned around and I yelled loudly, "Shut up, Jake!" And as I continued to run through the group, I saw my destination at hand. I knew that I needed to get there. I could see the black and white, or the black and orange life jacket that we use as our door. I knew I needed to get there and just get onto the groover. So I grabbed the life jacket as I'm running by and I start heading over there. And I continued to think about the bears. I was just thinking, oh my gosh, a bear is going to come up on me while I'm on the groover. And so I see the aluminum box in the toilet seat, and it was a comforting feeling. I ran over there, I sat down, and as I sat down, I started to think, well, yesterday I saw some neon green and black beetles hanging out by the groover. But then I didn't really think anything of it because I had business to do, so I just continued on with what I was doing, and I finished up, and I started thinking about the bears again because it was starting to really get dark because the sun had gone down by then, and I just was getting nervous. And so I took care of my business and continued on the way, and I headed on back over to the group, and on my way I stopped off and dropped the life jacket in the sand, and the sand blew up in the air, and you know how it does when you drop stuff, it blew up in the air, and I decided I needed to wash my hands, so I put my hands under the wash bucket, and the warm water ran through my fingers, and I lathered my hands with the soap, and I got that taken care of. And as I was doing that, I was thinking, this is going to be interesting as I walk over there. I wonder what they're going to say to me now. And I headed over there, and I started to run because I was getting nervous, and we were kind of far from where the group was, and I was thinking about bears again. And so I took off on a little jog, and as I was approaching the group, I felt like I needed to slow down so they didn't think that I was why I was running. So I slowed down, and as I walked through the group, I felt a little scratch in my pants, and I was nervous because I just wasn't really sure. But I thought at first I was like, oh, it's probably just a wedgie. So I reached into the the back of my pants and pulled my wedgie out. And as I did that, I was like, okay, good to go, because I had a swimming suit on and all that, and so I just felt like, maybe it was a wedgie, and I pulled it out and I went on my way. Headed on over to the kitchen. As I'm continue walking into the kitchen, I get my food on my plate, the chicken and rice that I've been smelling earlier. Started to get all my plate and everything ready, and started to head back over to the group, and I felt a scratch right before I left the kitchen. So I nonchalantly just pulled a wedgie real quick there, thinking, okay, I just didn't get everything. I pulled my other wedgie and kept going. Continued on to the group. I saw my chair. I was headed there. I was staying right in the middle by the fire. Everyone was looking at me because everyone else had been sitting there for a while. And another scratch happened in the back of my pants, and I just died. I knew there was something wrong. I didn't know what it was. So I had my food in one hand, and I put my hand in the back of my pants and pulled it out away from my body, and plop, onto the ground. A little neon green and black beetle landed into the sand, and my brother screamed so loud, "Ew! Cassie has a Gruber bug in her butt!" So needless to say, I've been known as the Gruber bug girl. And